نبينا وحبيبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In the theme we have been continuing, the last few times I have led the salah, is understanding the story of Musa and Feroun. Because understanding this story is the key to understanding all of these situations that we see in the world. And today, we have a special featured character. We're just going to focus on one character today. That is the character of Feroun himself. Feroun is a genius. And so too the Feroun of every people. Extremely intelligent. Very smart, beyond measure. Of course, someone foolish cannot lead millions of people to do something wrong. How does someone like Feroun operate? How does he win? How does he pressure? What does he do? I'm going to start with the first technique in this, the tyrant's manual. You know, if there was a set of instructions for every zalim, every tyrant, there was a manual, instruction manual. The first principle in this manual is always pretend you are the victim. Now remember, I also mentioned before, when we reflect on this story, in our own lives, often, we have some of these traits of Feroun, or we see them in people around us. And on a greater level, you see them in the bigger tyrants of today. The first rule, always play the victim. There's a scene. If this scene had a sad nasheed in the background, you would probably be crying. Musa alayhi salam comes to the palace of Feroun. He says, I'm here to show you the truth, I'm here to guide you. Feroun, he begins to play the victim card. Alam nurabbika fina walidan. Oh Musa, didn't we look after you when you were a little baby? Walabithta fina min umurika sinin. You stayed with us in this palace for years. We fed you, changed your nappies, gave you drink, looked after you for years and years. وَفَعَلْتَ فَعَلَتَكَ الَّتِي فَعَلْتَ. Something interesting here in the Arabic language. Literally the translation is, you did the thing that you did. Feroun is saying, look Musa, I'm not going to expose you to all of these people here. You did that thing that you did. You see, look, I'm such a loving person, a merciful stepfather. I'm not even going to expose the crime that you did. It's between us. Look at me, Rahim. Look at me, Latif. I'm so gentle, so merciful. But Musa, you can't say that I'm against the Israelites. You are an Israelite and I fed you and I looked after you. I love diversity and inclusion. I'm very inclusive to all Israelites. You know, how could you do this to me? Come to my palace and tell me that you're going to take over? What does he say to Musa? وَأَنْتَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. The label that Musa gives Feroun is that he's a kafir. He's ungrateful, he's a disbeliever. Before Musa can say this, Feroun calls him a disbeliever. Musa, the Prophet of Allah, he is a kafir. This is what Feroun says. أَنْتَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. And you'll see this very often. The tyrant, if the tyrant is terrorizing people, they will call the oppressed people terrorists. If the tyrant is manipulating people, they will call the oppressed people manipulators. If the tyrant is stealing people's wealth, they will call the oppressed people stealers, frauds. They will use their label and stick it to the victim. And they will play victim. Me, the merciful, loving father, I did nothing, I looked after you. And now you come to attack me. وَأَنْتَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. You're so ungrateful, you're a disbeliever. What's Musa alayhi salam going to respond? So this is the first rule in the tyrant's playbook. Always pretend you are the victim. And whatever crime you've done, stick it on the real victim. Musa alayhi salam responds. He can say, no, I didn't kill anyone, I didn't commit any crime. He can make tons of excuses, but he doesn't. He says, فَعَلْتُهَا. Yes, I did that. وَأَنَا مِنَ الضَّالِّينَ. I was lost. But I'm a changed man now. Musa is a changed man. and my Lord has given me wisdom and made me a messenger. Now, Musa alayhi salam, he points out in Feroun's propaganda, and this is the second rule in every zalim's playbook. You have to be a master of telling the story. You have to choose a story, flip the script, call the oppressors, the oppressed, say they are the oppressors, and tell the story to everyone in a very eloquent manner. Musa alayhi salam says, okay, you looked after me, you fed me, I am the kafir, I am wrong, you're the victim, fine. وَتِلْكَ نِعْمَةٌ تَمُنُّهَا عَلَيَّ أَنْ عَبَّدْتَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيل. Let's think about the statistics. Musa alayhi salam says, you were nice to one Israeli, one Banu Israeli, me. That justifies you slaving the other 600,000 of them and killing them? Feroun is stuck. His whole nice story and argument. The problem with the tyrant story, it never works when you match it with the numbers, the statistics on the ground. He says, okay, you saved one, but what about the other 600,000? Feroun says, let's not talk about this. Let's talk about the thing you want to give da'wah to. وَمَا رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Tell me about the Lord of the worlds. Come on, talk to me about the Lord of the worlds. As Musa alayhi salam begins to explain about who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, Feroun initially starts to mock him. أَلَا تَسْتَمِعُونَ. Guys, are you listening to this joke? But when Musa continues and Feroun sees people are being convinced by the story, he then starts to threaten him. If you don't stop, O Musa, you will be imprisoned. And that is the third rule in the playbook of the tyrant. If you can't silence somebody and you can't defeat their argument, just chuck them in prison or chop their hands and legs off, do something, use force to silence them. Rule number 4. Always tell the public that you have their best interests at heart. And make it look like these oppressed people are trying to take away their land and take away their jobs and their property. In Surah Ghafir, Feroun gives a speech to the Egyptian public. In هَذَانِ لَسَاحِرَانِ. These two magicians. They are prophets, but he gives them a new title, a new name. That's very important, to choose the right name so people have a negative view of these oppressed people. These two magicians, what do they really want? What does Feroun say to his people? يُرِيدَانِ لِيُخْرِجَاكُم مِّنْ أَرْضِكُمْ. They want to take you out of your land. Not my land. I'm a man of the people, your land. I'm concerned about my people. I'm such a merciful king. Even though elsewhere in the Quran, Feroun says, this is all my land, Egypt is mine. But here, when he's talking to the public, he's very smart. These magicians want to steal your land. من أرضكم بسحرهما ويذهب بطريقتكم المثلى. And they want to get rid of your beautiful way of life, your values, your hobbies, your enjoyment, your slaves. They want to get rid of all of your happiness. These guys are a threat to your way of life. فَأَجْمِعُوا كَيْدَكُمْ. Everybody, we got to come together and we got to finish them off. But look at the speech, look at the intelligence. Look how he labels them. Look how he pretends he's the victim and they are the oppressors. And look how, when he's giving his speech to the public, he says, I'm only looking for your interests. I'm a man of the people. I'm a miskeen. I don't want anything for myself. But deep down, the hunger for power and status is what drives him. This is why Feroun is a genius. And every Feroun is a smart genius. There's only one problem. You could be the most genius in the world and have the largest army in the world. But the light of Allah cannot be stamped out by you. This is why when Musa alayhi salam is scared of the numbers of Feroun and his power and his army and the crimes he has committed, Allah says, Kalla, don't worry. فَذْهَبَا بِآيَاتِنَا. You have my ayat, my signs. No tyrant, no army, nobody can stand in front of these signs. You are not alone. إِنَّا مَعَكُمْ مُسْتَمِعُونَ. That is the only thing Musa alayhi salam has in his pocket, in his arsenal, in his inventory. He only has one. Allah is with him. This tyrant Feroun, deep down, he knows the truth. Because the whole thing is a play for the media, the mass media. When Feroun sends a message out to gather an army against Musa alayhi salam, he sends, look at how he uses the media. إِنَّ هَؤُلَاءِ لَشِرْذِمَةٌ قَلِيلُونَ. He says, this small, split up group, they're a tiny group, we need to finish them. وَإِنَّهُمْ لَنَا لَغَائِظُونَ. And they are making us angry. They are a threat to our values. They want to steal our jobs, steal our property, our land. We have to get rid of them. وَإِنَّا لَجَمِيعٌ حَذِرُونَ. And we all need to be on alert. These guys, they are terrorists, oppressors. We have to be scared of them. This is the message Feroun sends out. Very smart usage. He knows how to move the emotions of people, manipulate the emotions of people so that they think Musa and his people are an enemy, they are oppressors, they are stealing our land, our property, our valuables, our jobs, our way of life. They are a threat to our existence. So people fall in suit. The vast majority of people do not think critically. Whatever is being blasted to them, they gulp and they swallow. And Fir'aun needs these people. And so they follow in suit. From the very beginning of time until today, no era has been free from a Fir'aun, at least one on this earth. Allah created Fir'aun for a reason, to teach us a lesson. What is that lesson? You may look at this man and think he's undefeatable. It's impossible. If you bring magic, he brings more magic. You bring arms, he brings more arms. You bring troops, he'll bring more troops. You can never win the game of numbers with Fir'aun, ever. Anything you bring, he has more, he has better, he has higher, he's stronger. What do you do in this case? Allah leaves you with no choice but to submit to the higher power, that is to submit to Allah. You have no choice. That is the reason He created Fir'aun. If it wasn't for Fir'aun, you and me would think that victory is in resources, in strength, in power, in ammunition, in this, in that, in this. But He creates Fir'aun to show you a reason. He created Jalut, and He created Nimrud, and He created Hitler to show us and to teach us a lesson. وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ اللَّهَ غَافِلًا عَمَّا يَعْمَلُ الظَّالِمُونَ. Don't think this man will live forever. This tyrant, he has an expiry date. But Allah made him, created him to test those beneath him. The whole thing is an exam, a very difficult exam. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is delaying the victory for a wisdom only He knows. Many people think the quicker the better. Why isn't Allah giving us victory? What is this? How many qunuts Ustadh Hisham going to do? Khalas, 3, 4, bas. Hey, come on, show us something, Ya Allah. If we look at the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, Yusuf is in the prison and 2 people join him, right? Who left the prison first? The 2 of them. What happened to the first one who left the prison? He died. What happened to the second one? He went to the palace and he was pouring alcohol for the king. Who left last, years later? Yusuf alayhi salam. But who ended up in the best place? Yusuf alayhi salam. Just because you got out of prison early doesn't mean you will have a better ending. Just because you got out of prison late doesn't mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dislikes you and you are not going to have strength and you're not going to have, Allah is not going to provide for you. Allah delays the nasr, delays the victory as a test for our patience. Even Banu Israel, when Musa alayhi salam is sent to them, even they lose patience. Many of us are thinking, when is it going to come? Banu Israel lose patience. قالوا أوذينا من قبل أن تأتينا ومن بعد ما جئتنا. Musa alayhi salam, you're not doing a great job. Before you came, we were being destroyed. Now you came, we're still being killed. Please tell me, who sent you and what? They are getting impatient. What's going on, Musa? You've been here for about 10 years. You keep telling us we're going to be freed. We're going to be free. But where's the freedom? We don't smell it in the air. Musa alayhi salam says, قال يا قوم استعينوا بالله واصبروا. Two things, my people. Number one, استعينوا بالله. Seek Allah's help. Number two, have sabr. Be patient. We do the first bit. We make dua. We ask Allah. We give charity. استعينوا بالله. We're great at this. But sabr, patience, we're not very good at this. We think this dua is like a drive-through order. 3 minutes we need to see at the checkout. We think Allah is instant, instant coffee. It provides everything instantly that we ask for. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sunan. He has ways in which He works. One of those ways that Allah works is He works in the centuries. You and me, we count the minutes. Allah works across history. It took how many years for Algeria to be free of French occupation? 130 years. Indonesia, Malaysia, Morocco. So many Muslim countries were under foreign occupation. 1914, the world map. The vast majority of Muslim countries were occupied by foreign countries. 100 years later, 110 years later, they are all free. It takes time. We have to be patient. But we should never stop asking Allah. Musa alayhi salam says to his people, this land belongs to Allah, this earth belongs to Allah. He gives power to whom He wants. Right now, Allah wants Feroun to be in power. Believe it or not, Allah wants him to be in power. Because He wants to test everybody else on this earth. He wants to see how you react. He wants to see how you donate. He wants to see, do you still pray salah? He wants to see, do you still make dua? Do you give up in Allah? The test is for you. Feroun is a test for you. He needs Feroun to be there to see, what are you made of? If Feroun is not there, you'll be relaxing with your feet up, watching the telly. He needs Feroun. You need Feroun. Without Feroun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot expose the real you and me. That's why these tyrants exist. They bring out the worst in us, or they bring out the best in us. Look at the people of Palestine today. You see death and you see destruction. But also you see some strange videos. A young boy reciting Quran while bombs are going off in the background. Somebody sitting in hospital with amputated limbs, sitting there peacefully reciting Quran. Their morale is high. Their iman is high. Because as everything around you crumbles, all you have left is your belief in Allah the Most High. Really, we should learn from them a thing or two about reliance and trust in Allah, about keeping our hopes high. People in the UK asking me, oh, when is it going to happen? I'm getting impatient. Your house hasn't been bombed yet, my friend, and you're getting impatient. Imagine the poor people there. Imagine their impatience, but they're not feeling impatient. They're saying, Ala inna nasrallahi qareeb. Allah's victory is near. And we have to be patient and believe that the victory of Allah is near. وصلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.